And guess what? The team would like for you to take the role of Wes. And I just was standing in the middle of Target, like hyperventilating, because I'm like, I think I have my own character on Sesame Street.
All right, guys. Well, welcome back. It's another day on the podcast, on the Real Grande podcast. I don't say this enough, but I'm Sam, and today's fun, man, because we're talking to Bradley Freeman Jr. So thanks for being on, man.
Of course. Yeah. So excited to be here.
So, and the reason why this is so cool is because, like I was telling Bradley, just now off mic, like we've done conversations, episodes that we've released or that we're going to with like, people in film, like one that we just released recently with Danny McAllen, and other people too, like David Barrera and Carlos Moreno Jr. and even like a director of a South Texas Film Festival. But we've never done anything. We never talked to someone who does what Bradley does, and that's probably, it's not even just that it's rare in the valley, it's probably rare everywhere. Because what Bradley does, he's a puppeteer. Does that sound about right?
That's exactly right, actually. Good job.
A puppeteer. So, and the cool thing about Bradley is that, well, there's like so many layers to this, but just for everybody listening, first of all, Brownsville native, born and raised. So all the Brownsville peeps are like, yeah, yeah,
956. I still have
homegrown.
my 956 area code.
Do you really? Okay.
Yeah, for
Oh
real.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, I was texting you. That's true. That didn't even click in my mind. So anyway, so Bradley, he's on Sesame Street. Sesame Street Muppet performer. He's a performer, puppeteer with the Muppets, the Muppets. And he also does another show. He's the main character, right? You do.
Hmm.
You're the pigeon on a pigeon. I mean, on a pigeon on a show called The Pigeon Explains.
Pigeon on a pigeon. Yeah, on the show called The Pigeon Explains. Yeah, I'm the pigeon.
Okay, and that's through the Mo Williams workshop. So he's on Sesame Street, he's on the Muppets, he does his own thing, and he's like the main character. So when I saw that, man, when I saw that you were on Sesame Street, I hadn't even seen the Muppets yet. I was like, what the heck? Like, that's a whole different thing. But then when I looked more into it and I saw that this was like your childhood dream, right?
Yeah, yeah, big time. I mean, since I can remember, really. I pin it back to pretty much since I was five, but yeah, since I was a kid, this is what I've been wanting to do. I'm very, very lucky and very grateful.
Well, and you're doing it, man. Like this is literally like this is the same thing as like like an 8-year-old kid saying he wants to be on the Dallas Cowboys. Like you
Yeah.
did it, man. Like you were like a 5, 6-year-old, like probably playing with socks or and that's not even like that's cool, right? Like you know how kids all do that. And then you're probably dreaming like of you're probably watching Sesame Street and the Muppets at that time, right? And now you're part of the show.
Yeah,
Dude,
it's
that is
pretty
crazy,
bizarre.
man.
It's one of those things that's really, really bizarre because I have only ever lived in my experience. So I know that from the time that I was around 5 years old, I wanted to work with the Muppets. I wanted to work with Kermit. I wanted to work with Elmo. I That's what I wanted to do. And so I just started doing everything I could to get there, which was practicing. Sometimes it was playing with socks. Sometimes it was cutting holes in my little plushies so that I could put my hand in their mouth and then work them like an actual puppet. And my mom thought I was psycho, but it turned out okay. And then just doing everything that I could to like be as close as I could to that kind of I don't know, to that thing that I wanted so much. And
Yeah.
I pursued it all through elementary and all through high school, all through middle school, and it was always a part of my life. And then I was lucky enough to actually get it. And the funny thing is, because it was so common sense to me, because it was such second nature to me to just like have this passion and move toward it and just never really waver from the direction that I wanted to go. I didn't realize that other people didn't have the same story. Like there was just something in my head that was like, yeah, everybody is the thing that they said they wanted to do when they were five. or at least everybody's on their way to that. I just got there a little bit early. Like that was my one consensus was like I just got there a little early. Like I was 23 and I achieved the thing that I really wanted to do.
Oh,
But I didn't realize that it just wasn't the case that not a lot of people follow through with that specific dream that they had when they were 6 or 5 because like sometimes the dreams change, sometimes the dreams become harder to achieve, sometimes those jobs maybe don't exist anymore, sometimes life gets in the way. I mean, there are
or there
sometimes
is
you
no
just
dream.
forget, or there is no dream, or there is no dream.
We
That
don't know what we want
all
to
of that
do.
is all of that is so common. And I was just I was kind of naive in that respect when I was thinking about other people because I was like, yeah, everybody's doing what they wanted to do from the time, and I just it because it was so ingrained in me, right? Like that is the lifestyle. That's how you do it. This person wants to be an astronaut, cowboy, ballerina dancer, then that's what they are, obviously. Like that's what they're gonna
Yeah.
go and do.
Wow. So there
And so
was
to
never
me, it
like
was
a
just
second
never
thought, like
no,
or no second
no,
option. Like that is what it was. Like it was always going to be
not
that.
really. Yeah, it was always going to be that in a few ways. I mean, one of the other options that I had was like maybe I'll be an animator. But I'm not that good at drawing. I'm good at doodling, but I'm not that good at drawing. And also animation takes so long. It takes so long
Hmm.
and you have to be so good at it. And I'm just not.
Did you
And then
try it?
I tried it. It's hard. Have you tried it?
Yeah. No, man. I
It's
can't even
hard.
doodle, dude.
It's hard
My
to
brother
do.
can, but
Your brother
I can
can? Well,
imagine.
lucky
I've
him.
seen the videos of behind the scenes, like when they're making Nemo and they have all the sketches and stuff like that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what
yeah, yeah.
animators do, right? Like, yeah, it
I
looks
mean,
hard.
there's like the 2D animation, and then there's also 3D animation. So
Yeah.
there's like 2D hand drawn animation where you're drawing every single frame. Everything you see is a new drawing. Every time you see a hand go from here to here, that's like 7 drawings. And then there's like Finding Nemo
Dang,
or
man.
Pixar, with the Incredibles and whatnot, where it's all sort of keyframes. But even that is frame to frame to frame. You are animating, you are posing every frame. It's almost like stop motion, but with some level of automation that helps you enhance the animation more so than you could with stop motion. Because with stop motion, it's you move the toy and then you take the picture, and you move the toy and you take the picture. With 3D animation, you move it and you watch it back and you say, "Let me fix that," and then you go back and you edit and erase and fix it. And
Mm,
with stop motion, you can't do that because
yeah.
it's already done. Like you can't put
Yeah,
that toy
yeah.
back in the exact same position. And so I considered all of
Oh,
that
okay.
because I love characters. I love bringing characters to life, and all of it took so long. It just takes so long. But it was all like me thinking, if I don't become a Muppet performer, then maybe I can do this. So I had like little ideas of what a plan B could be, but to be completely honest, my goal was always just to be doing puppets.
But how do you know though? Because I mean, we're talking about a passion, right? But I mean, I kind of feel like that could be any kid. Like any kid could be playing with like a puppet, right? Or like a sock.
Hmm.
Like I mean, we probably all did that. Or like toys, or what.
Yeah,
Every kid wants to be part of like Nemo drawings. Every kid probably wanted to be part of Sesame Street. So like, how did you know that this was different? It's kind of like every kid wants to be on the Cowboys, like I said earlier.
yeah.
But like for you, like what? How did you know that it was real?
That's such a great question. I think it was just something that I always say is like when I was a kid, like all of us, I used to love to play with toys. I would play with them all the time. I liked good looking toys. I liked when they were fun and really great looking, and it just never wore off. It just never
Mm.
went away. I have toys here in my office, like just because I think they're cool. I don't sit and play with them like I used to when I went to Chili's and I'd bring my 2 toys and that was my thing that I would play.
Yeah.
But like now, the toys have it evolved because the way that I used to play with toys was I would give them characters and I would do little voices and stuff when I was a kid, and I just never stopped. It just evolved. It evolved from little action figures to little plushes, and from those plushes to be like really cheap puppets, and then really cheap puppets to more expensive puppets, and then those expensive puppets developed even more characters, and I would start to get them on camera. So I didn't to answer your question, I didn't know. For me, it wasn't different. Like for me, it just
Mm.
was. You know, I
Yeah.
it just
Natural.
was the thing that I liked to do, and I never stopped liking to do it.
That's so cool, man. It's weird because like everyone can like it, but to know that that's what you want to do. Like that's a whole different level. And then the fact that it was natural is even crazier because it's like you never even questioned it. Like, but
Never
okay,
questioned it.
but
Yeah.
how? Okay, so you loved it. But how did you find yourself on Sesame Street? Like again, everybody has a passion, but how did you actually accomplish that?
Are you asking if I can tell you how to get to Sesame Street, like the theme song?
Right,
Um,
right. For all the kids listening that want to be on
yeah.
Sesame Street, like, how did you find? Because part of me wants to say like, how does a guy from Brownsville get on Sesame Street? But it's not even about that. It's like,
How
how
does
does
a
anybody
person
do
get on
that?
Sesame Street? Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, look, that's the
Because
question
it's
that
not
I
like you could have been a puppeteer anywhere. Because
anywhere.
you wanted to be a puppeteer, you could
That's
have
right.
just done it. But you're on Sesame Street, man. That's like the premiere
Yeah.
show, the Muppets. Like
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like, how do you get to the very top?
So you bring up a really good point, which is the Sesame Street, like you were comparing with the Cowboys before. Sesame Street is the NFL of puppetry. Sesame Street, it's the
Exactly.
NBA. It's practically the Olympics of puppetry. Only the best of the best can be there, and I was only ever watching the best of the best. And to be completely honest with you, like there are thousands of puppeteers, just around in the country. That's probably an understatement.
Like actors, right? Yeah. There's a bunch of
Yeah,
shows, a bunch of
there's a ton of
movies.
actors. There's a ton of actors. Everyone's looking for their big break. So there's a bunch of puppeteers. And the amount of puppeteers who even get the opportunity to work professionally is in the hundreds. And then to scale that down even further, the amount of regular puppeteers on Sesame Street who are working like during the season, who are working almost every day, maybe like 14 people. There's a roster of 30, right? And then there's like 14 regulars. Um, Puppeteers' dreams, puppeteers who are doing the style of puppetry that I'm doing, which is the Muppet style sort of television puppetry. Um, that's the dream. Like that's what you want to do. You want to be on that show. Not only that, but you want to be working with the Disney Muppets. Like you want to be working with Kermit and Piggy and Gonzo and Fozzie and Animal. You know, you want to be working with all those characters.
Yeah.
And but there is something to understand, which is even if you're an incredible puppeteer, sometimes there's just not an opening for you. Sometimes there's just no space. We have everybody.
Mm.
Everybody's already cast. There's no character that needs a performer. At least that was the case for a really long time. And if they do need a performer, then they pick from the roster of people that they have. Like
Oh,
Sesame Street
okay.
already has their 30 people. They're not going to go and reach out to because so I to rewind a little bit, through high school and college, I was establishing new characters and recording little videos. I went to veterans and I was in the AV program with Mr. Castillo, and I think he's at Cummings now, and
Shout out to Mr. Castillo.
Mr. Castillo, Oscar Castillo. And so he was great, and he was always encouraging me, and we had a freaking blast. And so I would take my characters, and we would do a bunch of great stuff, and it was amazing, right? And I had some really nice early um, views into what production kind of looks like, even though it was high school production, right? But I knew what it looked like to be getting myself out of the
Exposure.
frame. And yeah, it was just some exposure, being on camera, being able to watch myself and edit myself and see, like, okay, maybe the puppet looks good, but is the acting good? Or maybe the acting's good as here, but is the puppetry good at all? Being able to sort of be my worst critic for some of that. And then editing and just having fun on projects. And so I took that with me into college, and I was working at the San Antonio Food Bank up here, and I was working at the front desk, and then I was helping with their safety videos, and then they hired me on as videographer, so I was doing safety videos, and then of course, I started to be able to be more and more creative there. I started establishing some more characters around San Antonio and doing little videos, and then um, in 2018, back in 2018, there was a workshop that Sesame Street was holding, and it was going to be a 3-day workshop taught by the puppeteers on Sesame Street, um, to learn how to be a better puppeteer. They were accepting submissions from around the world, and if you wanted to go, submit this, and if we think you're good enough to come up here and learn with us, then you can come up here to learn with us. So I decided to submit a video, and there were over 400 people who had applied from around the world, and I was one of 30 to get accepted, which was like,
Mm.
holy crap. Like every time I think about that, I'm still like, oh my gosh, I like won the lottery with that one. I'm always thankful to whoever
Really?
dropped out so that I could fill in that last slot. Like that's just how I feel all the time. So I
Yeah,
went and I
30.
30 people. I was one of 30 to go up to New York to learn for 3 days. And here's the cool thing though, right? The teachers were going to be these four people who are really big deals for me. Their names are Stephanie DeBruzzo, Peter Linz, Marty Robinson, and Matt Vogel. Those names probably don't mean anything to you, but the characters that they play, I've been watching them since I was a child. These are the people that I have been watching since I was little, that I've been researching since I was little, that I wanted to be like. I was copying their voices. Like this is the stuff. These are the people.
And now
And then
you're gonna go
there's
learn from them
now I'm
in New
going to learn
York.
from them. The other teacher was Marty Robinson, who plays Telly Monster, and he also plays Mr. Snuffleupagus, and he's been Snuffy for the last 42 years, I think now, the big woolly mammoth character on Sesame Street. And then
Oh, okay.
Matt Vogel plays the Count and Big Bird
Oh, yeah.
and Kermit the Frog and a bunch of other characters. So these are,
Wait, Big Bird and Kermit the Frog are the same voice?
that's correct. Yeah, they're the same guy.
What? Okay, I need to listen to them again.
Yeah, give it a try.
Okay, that's a surprise for me. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Uh,
That's talent, I guess.
well,
Yeah.
I mean, another surprise might be this person wasn't teaching us that day, but Eric Jacobson, he plays Miss Piggy and Kermit the not sorry, Fozzie Bear, Grover, Bert, Animal, Oscar the Grouch, Sam the Eagle.
What?
Yeah,
Miss
it's
Piggy's a male?
Miss Piggy's a guy.
What the heck? Oh, you know what? Okay, I can see that. I can see, but I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, I guess it could be like a guy doing like a high pitched type because her voice is also kind of raspy, like not
yeah, because
deep,
they're
but
gonna be
it
like,
has
"Oh,
like it's
Kermit,
on the
oh,
underside.
what's your?" Yeah, like that sort of thing down there. So
Yeah, just kind of scratch it up a little bit.
yeah, but yeah,
Okay,
and
well
Miss Piggy's
that's interesting.
always been a man. Um, so
Hmm.
so anyway, these were my teachers, and I was learning from them for 3 days, and I could not have been like more excited. I was beside myself. I was shaking. I was scared. I was just so happy. Like, can you believe this? This is amazing. So I go and I learn from them for 3 days. It was the best. I made some amazing friends. Um, and now I'm on their list. It wasn't an audition for anything. It was just like sort of talent scouting, see who's out there, train up some younger puppeteers to eventually maybe come by. Um, but I'm thinking in my head like I don't work there, but now I'm no longer just a fan. You know, now I feel like I am part of it. And somebody says Sesame Street, I can say, "Oh yeah, I met those people." Right? Like now I have that. It's not just I'm a big fan and I
There's a
know everything
connection.
about them. There's a real connection. So I felt even more validated. And then people took me seriously because then like on my resume, I could say trained by Sesame Street Muppet performers, which adds like a lot of legitimacy when you're saying that you're a puppeteer. So
Yeah, yeah.
so it made me feel good. It made me feel extremely validated. And really just really happy. So then that was over, and I was doing some more videos around San Antonio and establishing my own characters. And then COVID hit, you know, a couple years later, and within that time, I'd already made
Mm.
several videos. So since COVID was, I had nothing to do. So I sat there and I made myself a demo reel, which was just sort of an example of my puppeteering style, different voices I could do, a little bit of singing and some acting, and I put it together in like 30 minutes of like a 30 minute sorry, not a 30
Okay.
minute like a 2 minute, sorry, like a 2 minute sort of reel, like a demo. and i
Yeah, like a
s-
scouting reel. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, exactly. And so I gave it to Marty, who plays Snuffleupagus, and I said, hey, just I wanted you to, oh no, sorry, let me go backwards, I forgot this is a good part of the story.
Okay.
um I made a demo reel, and I was thinking about it over. And then a few days later, I had this little epiphany where I was driving in my car. It was late at night. I was just driving to get out of the apartment because I'd been stuck inside for so long because it was still like, I don't know, June of no, sorry, not June. It's like August of 2020 or November of 2020. So
Oh yeah.
we were still pretty hunkered down.
Quarantined.
Yeah. And so I was just driving around, and I had this revelation in my head, which was like, you know what? I may not ever get to Sesame Street. Um, I have, I already went, I did the workshop, And they've had several auditions since then for different characters that they were recasting and moving on. And several of my friends who were in that workshop were asked to audition, but I wasn't. And so I was like, I may not ever make it, but that's okay. I love what I do. I'm one of how many people can say they were even trained by them? I'll always have that special thing.
Yeah.
And even if I just end up with a regular job, managing an AGB or whatever, like I'll still go home and put on a puppet and entertain my family or do it for myself and
Mm.
just record my own videos. Like it'll always be a part of my life. I love it because I love it, not
Yeah.
not because I need to be doing it for for not for fame, because you don't become famous as a puppeteer, but not like for any sort of puppeteer clout. Like I don't need any
Yeah.
of that. Um, I love it because I love it, and I felt good about that, right? And I felt really content, and I was like, it's the NBA of puppetry. There's like 15 people who are doing it, and even less people who are doing it with the Muppets. So don't worry about it. Just do what you want to do because you love it, and money and happiness will follow. Hopefully both, but
No
maybe
pressure.
it's just one. Like a no pressure situation where I'm okay.
That's cool, man.
And so
So it's genuine from the heart.
it
Like
was
it's
from the
just
heart.
all you.
Yeah, I just sort of had to realize, like, take a moment to say, I don't need to reach the big time to love this craft. And I felt content about that. And it was nice because it was sort of healing that thing that I always had within me, which is since I was a kid, I want to work there. And so it was healing
Oh,
a part
okay.
of me that was like hurting from the thought of never actually making it there. Um, and but also just sort of unlocking a new chapter of passion and saying like I'm going to do it because I love to do it, and that's it. So I felt good about that. Well, the next morning, I get an email from Martin Robinson, uh, longest tenured puppeteer on Sesame Street, puppet captain, and he says,
Captain.
but yeah, puppet captain is basically a person who's in charge of like casting and being on set to make sure that everything is like puppet safe and
Oh
good to
wow.
go. Yeah, it's a very specific role. Like you sort of have to have a lot of knowledge of puppetry in order to fill that role. So you can make sure like tables are the right heights, and you can make sure that the kids are on like the right apple
Oh
boxes, and that
wow.
we have the efficient equipment. Or if they say like, okay, Big Bird is going to make a paper airplane, and then you have to remind them, well, for one thing, Big Bird can't see. Two, he only has one usable hand. You have to get somebody else behind him, so you have to adjust your shot, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh,
So
okay. So
that
that's the
kind of
right
thing.
person to talk to then. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So he's the one. So he emails me and he says, "Hey Bradley, uh, how are your puppeteer chops?" And I was like, "Oh my god, the hell!" So I emailed him back. I'm like, "Hey, they're actually pretty good. I actually just made a demo reel. I feel like maybe you could watch it and tell me if it's good enough for me to send out or post on YouTube and see if I can actually get any jobs from it." Not asking for a job from him, just sort of saying, maybe somebody might
Yeah,
like it.
yeah. Put
And
it
he
out there.
says, "Yeah, just to put it out there." And he says, like, okay, great. I'll give it a watch in the morning. I have to go shoot some stuff for Sesame. I said, okay, cool. So I wake up the next morning and I have three separate emails from him. And one of them said, hey, I really loved your reel. I'm sending it over to Matt Vogel. And Matt is Kermit and Big Bird and the head puppet
Oh
captain,
wow.
as well as a director and producer on Sesame Street. Um, then I get a second email that said, hey, Matt loved your reel. We're sending it over to the producers. And then I'm like, oh my God. And then another email that says, hey, the producers loved your reel as well. Where do you live again? And I was like, anywhere you need me to live, that's where I'll be. And so, and so he was like, the producers will be reaching out shortly about an audition, a potential audition. So that was the case. I think it was the very next day or that same day, I got an email from the Sesame Workshop producers saying, we have some auditions coming up. If you'd like to send in a video, I sent in a video. Then they said, okay, we would
How
like
do
you
you
to
feel
audition
with
for
all
this
that?
character.
Wow.
It was weird because it was all over email, right? And so, like, there were so
Mm.
many moments where it didn't feel real because it felt like I was just talking to Siri, right? Like, everything that I was doing
Too
was just
easy.
via text. Yeah, it felt like too easy. It just felt like, Like I wasn't talking to any real people. I wasn't seeing any real Muppets. Nobody was calling me on the phone. Like it was interesting. So it didn't feel super real until I had my audition scheduled. And when my audition was scheduled, I'm sitting in my office. I'm on my computer. It's going to be over Zoom. This is a Zoom audition. I'm sitting in my office. I have my computer there, and I open up the Zoom link, and it says, um, "The host has joined. Sesame Workshop will let you in shortly," and I had their little logo on the
Oh
side.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
And
the
I was
Zoom waiting
like,
room.
"Yeah, the Zoom waiting room," and that was the moment that I like realized, "Oh my, I think I'm about to audition for Sesame Street," and I
It's happening.
freaked. My heart started to pound, and I was like, "Oh my God, I can't." Whew, like this is crazy. Like everything could change. This is insane. So I audition, and it's for a character named Wes. I read against a couple of amazing people, including people that I used to look up to, or that I still look up to, right? That I used to watch on TV. And then the audition is over, and I am sort of in a weird little daze because I'm like, I think I just auditioned for Sesame Street. Like that's certainly what it feels like. Um, and also just like nervous because now it's just waiting to find out whether or not I
Mm.
got it or not. And the thing with this was the kind of situation where this is what I have always wanted. And if I get it, then my life can change forever. If I don't get it, things stay the same. And so I was telling myself, there is nothing wrong with your life right now. If everything stays the same, that's great. You could be in a way worse situation. And plus, they finally asked you to audition for something, which means that you're on the list. Which means that if there's something else that comes up in the next 5 years,
Mm.
they might ask you to audition again.
You're on the radar. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, I'm like, I'm finally on the radar. So, all in all, this is nothing but a good thing. Plus, once again, now you can tell people, oh, Sesame Street, yeah, they asked me to audition for a character on that show. I didn't get it, but they asked me to audition. Isn't that cool? And then
Yeah, that
and then
counts, man. Yeah.
yeah, that counts. Like, then I have that story forever. So I have like some little cool treasure chest things that I'm just keeping in me. And then I kept thinking, but if I get it, and I kept stopping myself, like, don't worry about it if you get it, because you might not get it. So don't get excited about getting it. Um, so then there's one day that I'm Christmas shopping at Target and walking down the aisles, and I get an email. And the email is from one of the producers, Bryce, and she says, "Hey, Bradley, thanks for taking the time to audition for Wes." And I'm like, oh, shoot, I didn't get it. Nobody ever starts the
Oh yeah, yeah.
congratulations email with like, "Hey, thanks for taking the time to do this. Unfortunately, we want to go." Like that's always how it goes. Then I read the rest of it, and it said, "And guess what? The team would like for you to take the role of Wes." And I read over it like 7 or 8 times, and I was like, "Did I? I think I got it." And I just was standing in the middle of Target, like hyperventilating, because I'm like, I think I have my own character on Sesame Street. And then
Dude.
I call my mom
Oh my
immediately
God.
and I tell her about it and we freak out. And then I go tell my aunt and my grandma who were in the store with me and we freak out and they're like, well, you have to call everybody now. I called my dad and then they gave me a list of people who needed to know. So I started calling a couple people and telling them the news and it was incredible. It was
Right
incredible.
there
And
at
then
Target. This is how it started.
at Target, and it's a Target that I
Hey
go to
man.
still. Yeah, I know exactly where it happened.
That's cool.
It's actually the
Wow.
Target. If you fast forward, it's the Target that I found the first piece of merchandise with my character on it, which is super cool.
That's
Um,
like full circle moment right
isn't
there.
that crazy? Yeah, yeah. So fast forward like a month, right? And I'm on set for the first time, and I see my character for the first time. I'm meeting Elmo for the first time, which is so special because Elmo was my guy for such a long time.
Yeah.
And
On
a birthday
TV.
on
Yeah.
TV, and now he's right here. And funny enough, this is the same exact puppet that I grew up watching. It hasn't changed. It's the same one. I mean, it's been refurbished and cleaned up, but it's the same one
But
from
literally the same
1998.
puppet.
That's exactly right.
Cool.
And it's next to my character. And this whole video is about Elmo and me and my character's dad. And I just like beside myself. And then they asked me, "Hey, do you mind if Time Magazine comes in and documents this thing?" I was like, "I guess not. That's fine." So then Time,
Your first time?
my first day, Time Magazine is shooting a documentary, and then they interview me. They're like, would you mind doing an interview for Time Magazine?" That's fine, no. And I did an interview thinking that, like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have a little blurb in Time Magazine. No, it was a little bit better than that. They, the entire article starts with Bradley Freeman Jr. was walking down the aisles of Target when he found out that block, and I'm like,
What?
this was the cover, and then
That's the issue? Okay.
yeah, and then when you go in here, there's it's a full 3-page spread in Time Magazine, talking about my character and this new, very important mission. Here it is. This is the spread here in the
Oh,
magazine.
okay. Which one is Wes? The young one?
This is Wes, is the little one, yeah. And
Dude,
the
that's the
article
whole thing.
the article begins here. It might be backwards for you, but it says Bradley Freeman Jr. was doing some Christmas shopping, and that's like the deal. And so the next page is actually a picture of me there on my first day performing the character there with Elmo. And
Oh, wow.
it's
Yeah,
a little
man.
bit
That's
blurry, but
day
you can find it
one.
online. That's day one, or it might have been day two.
Did they know that? Did Time Magazine know that?
I think they did. I think they did. And then there's this really cool like timeline from a character that I love, Roosevelt Franklin. And then all of then you get Rosita and Kami and Gabrielle and Lily and Alex, Julia, Carla, and then Wesley there, which is just so crazy.
Dude, that is crazy, man.
Yeah. So that was my
Yeah,
first month.
and that's crazy. That's so crazy that sometimes it's hard to like really understand like the level, right? Like like it takes you a while to let it soak in because it's like that kind
Yes,
of stuff doesn't happen in real life. Like you dream about it, but
exactly.
like it's happening to you.
Exactly. And especially with puppeteers, because again, like we don't get into this business for fame. It would be very silly to do that because you don't get famous. And you don't want to get famous. You do it because you love it. And most puppeteers, they go in and do the job without celebration. That's typically how it goes. You go in, you get the job. There's no articles written about you. Maybe your hometown is proud, but like there's no articles written about you. You're not on the news. There's not a documentary that like revolves around a big portion of your character. It is just, you just do the job.
Yeah.
And I had a very, very special, not by choice, but I had like a very, very loud intro into Sesame Street. And then shortly after that, I was asked to work with the Disney Muppets to help and like assist with their characters and perform additional characters. So then I'm
So
recruited
that
over
came
to
to you.
Disney. Yeah, they had asked me if I would be willing to audition for a workshop, and I auditioned, and then they offered me a part to be on the team.
How'd they find you? Like they were reading Time Magazine. Like,
Well, here's the thing. So here's what's funny is the Disney Muppets. It's most of the same performers. If we're talking about like Peter
oh,
Lenz
okay.
and Matt Vogel, who were two of my teachers on Sesame, those are two of the main Muppet guys. So Matt performs Kermit the Frog and Floyd Pepper and a whole bunch of others, and then Robin performs Walter and Robin, and then Eric, who performs Oscar the Grouch, and Bert, he also performs Miss Piggy and Fozzie. So it's the same guys,
Okay.
right? And so I was recommended by some of those guys, or at least one of those guys, to hop on over there. And they asked me to send in a video. They accepted it, and I was part of the team. And I started to get calls immediately. And now I work with the Muppets like pretty often. I mean, I'm one of their. I've gotten to do some incredible things with the Muppets, um, and then shortly after that, there was a character whose performer decided to step away from Sesame Street, and they asked if I would audition for that character. I auditioned. I got the part, and so now my character Tamir is one of the main characters on Sesame Street. So I perform two characters now for Sesame Street, Wesley and Tamir.
And that's
And
your character. Tamir's
and
like yours.
yes, he's mine now. He used to be performed by somebody else for about a year, but I've been with him for the last several years now, and it's my voice. Almost everything that you see
And
is
he's one
my
of the
voice
main
and my puppetry.
characters.
One of the main little
So
guys.
okay. So we watched Sesame Street. Like we're gonna hear you. We're gonna see you.
Yeah, yeah. If you watch any
Wow.
of the recent seasons of Sesame Street, I'm in every intro. Tamir is in
Not just
all
like
of
an
the
extra,
intros.
right? Like you're like part of the
Yeah, a
show.
character. Yeah, like
Like you're
there's
not
a
like the
couple.
garbage guy like for 5 seconds. Like you're like in the show.
Yes, yeah, he's part of the main cast, and there's actually a couple episodes like Tamir's Waterworks is one of the episodes in that. There's Tamir's art show,
Oh, so it's
Tamir learns.
focused on you.
Yeah, there's episodes about him that are yeah. So if you watch any of the recent seasons, Tamir, to here I have the
I
toy
didn't watch
actually,
it. We gotta check it out though now. I
but
didn't realize your character had like episodes about.
yeah.
Oh wow,
So this
that's
is
Tamir.
him. This is Tamir. He's available. You can get it on Amazon. You can get him anywhere. It's a picture of him there. And then
He
he's
needs
also
to be on
got
our
this.
shelf. We have a podcast shelf.
Oh, you do? Yeah, yeah. Order some.
Yeah, we have a
Get a
podcast shelf
couple of
for like all of
Tamirs.
our guests.
Yeah,
We
you
gotta
can
get that guy, man.
get some
Tamir.
Tamirs,
Okay.
and then here's a
So there's
Tamir
merchandise about your
PVC.
character.
Yeah, there's shirts and there's toys and there's all sorts of great. I have a nice like sweatshirt that I get. He's got
So
a
you just like go
cartoon.
shopping and you see your characters like at the store.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I see the pigeon every day, and I see the pigeon. I mean, I see Tamir every day. Like if I go to Walmart or Target, yeah, they're there, which is
Dude, how does
great.
that feel? Because like nobody knows that it's you. But like, how does it feel like to be walking like you're seeing like the pigeon or you're seeing like your characters like at the store, like
Yeah,
at I don't know, like at Kmart or something. Like, how does it feel like knowing do you feel undercover or like because
yeah.
that's different from anybody else
I think
as
that's
far
the
as like
best part.
acting or film is concerned.
Yeah, because then like I couldn't even go to Walmart or to Kmart, and because people would be mobbing me
Yeah,
because they know my
yeah.
face. But like, yeah, like I like it because I'm like undercover. I'm like Superman, you know, Superman and there's Clark Kent. You know,
Yeah, it's like
I'm
real
like Clark
life
Kent.
Hannah Montana, dude.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
You get the best of both
it
worlds. You get the
literally
glamour out
is.
front, how to style every shoe, every color. I know that whole song. I
Oh
love that
snap,
show.
yeah. Yeah,
So,
me too.
so, so yeah, it's really special because like I'll go to Target and I see the pigeon at Target all the time, and it's funny to be like, oh, that's
We're
me.
gonna see him now. We're gonna see him, guys. Everybody, look out for the pigeon at Target.
You're gonna see him.
Everybody goes
Yeah.
to Target all the
There's
time. So
what's the book?
okay,
This is the book that's
dude,
like always
we
on
need that for
sale.
the show. The
The pigeon
pigeon
will
will
ride the
ride the
roller
roller
coaster.
coaster.
That's the one that's always on sale. But the classic one is Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus, and there's like five or six actually. I should know. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Oh, that one doesn't count. So there's seven. There's seven pigeon books. More to come, I'm
Oh, where does that
sure.
come out, man? Where is that
Where?
like? Is that like on TV or cable or like? How do people watch the pigeon?
He, oh, YouTube.
It's a YouTube show.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's a channel.
The Pigeon Explains is specifically a YouTube show because that's honestly where kids are watching shows now. And
Yeah,
so
yeah, for
you
sure.
know,
Coco
so
Melon.
yeah, Coco Melon, Miss Rachel, all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's where the pigeon lives, but that's where his TV show lives. He started as a book 20 years ago, actually. I think it was
Oh wow.
2003. I want to say 2003 because he just turned 21. Or the books just turned 21. And he sort of came into popularity just after I was of age to be reading the books. So anybody who's younger than me is like, the pigeon? And I was like, yeah, the pigeon. Oh, you've heard of him.
Oh
Okay, cool.
okay.
And whenever I do like school presentations, it's
That's
really
me.
funny because yeah, it's really funny because when I do school presentations, I reveal like, oh, and I was asked to audition for this character, and then I show like a picture of the pigeon, and the kids lose their minds because they love the pigeon. And so then I show
That's
like
their celebrity.
that's their celebrity. And so he's honestly even bigger than Tamir. Like that I get a much bigger reaction from the pigeon
Really?
than I get from Tamir, which is crazy. And not what I expected because Sesame Street was my world. Yeah, like he's bigger than because Sesame Street was my world, and he's bigger than I had expected. I thought, well, this is going to be such a cool job. It's just a silly character. These books are awesome. I didn't realize he was
Yeah.
such a big deal. And still, anytime I meet people and they ask, well, which characters do you do? Would I know them? And I say the pigeon, and they're like, "You're the pigeon." I that's honestly like I
Dude, that
don't
must
do it
feel
for that,
cool.
but it makes it worth it.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
for
do it.
sure,
Yeah,
man.
like
That's called a perk. It's
it's a
called a perk of
perk.
the job.
It's a perk. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was just a regular audition. They just asked me to audition for that, and I got the part. Um. So yeah, man,
Oh, that came to you also?
that came. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh.
Well, because if you're on Sesame Street, man, like you're like cream of the crop. Everyone's gonna want if you can get someone from Sesame Street to audition for your like puppet show, like obviously you're gonna want them, right? That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Like I said, like the amount of
Because it is the
legitimacy.
NFL or the
It's
Olympics.
the one like you know that you're getting top caliber performances from these
Yeah.
people. So it's really special. It's really weird. And it's really awesome because like anywhere I go in the country and I travel a lot, if there I go to a store and I'm able to see like one of the characters that I am lucky enough to be the steward of in that store. And
Yeah,
that's
man.
special. And that's something that like anytime I'm feeling down about myself or just having a bad day, I can remember for a brief moment like I'm probably the only person in this store who has merchandise with their characters. Like and then it just
For real,
I can just
man.
like launch like just for when I'm feeling down. I'm not usually walking around like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
well, that's me. I don't say anything. I just think it.
Yeah, I mean, because people don't even know, but like that's part of it, though, right? It's part of the
It is
lore.
part of
Like,
it. It's fun. I think that's what makes it fun to
dude,
me.
that's so. And not to like put our dreams down or anything, but this is crazy because this stuff never actually happens in real life. You know what I mean? Like again, like not to like put the rest of us down, but
Yeah,
everybody has those kinds of dreams that it's like they're dreams, right? It's kind of like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna have this one day, or like, yeah,
yeah,
when I have my 600-acre ranch, like with my 10 billion cows.
yeah,
So you're like, oh yeah, one day I'm gonna be on Sesame Street. But dude, you are like you're gonna
yeah.
go to Target and your character's there. Like that is
That's
insane,
exactly
man.
right. It's
Probably so
bizarre.
much so that you don't even get to fathom it.
No, I think because I'm so involved in it, I don't
It's
really.
real now. It's work.
Yeah, like because it's work, and I don't see it as something. I don't know that's any bigger than me being mad about a choice that I made when I'm watching back a video. Like if I'm watching back one of Tamir's things and I'm like, "Oh, why did I do that? That sucked." It's never that big. I don't like if I see that it has 3 million views, I'm like, ah, dang it. Because it's just like it's not real. Like there's something about it that's just like so I don't know. I don't know how to
You're still in a
describe it.
cloud.
Yeah, like it's
It's real.
I forget that people watch what I do. Does that make sense?
Oh,
Like
yeah, because it's work now, right?
because it's work. Like I go to work, I do the character, we have fun, we laugh, and then I like go have dinner, and then I just go home and I
Normal
like
life. You know why, bro?
normal
Because it's
life.
not a dream anymore. Because when it's a dream, like you think of like it feels like a fairy tale, but this is like real
Yeah.
life now. So it's like
Yes.
you still feel normal. Like you don't feel like you don't
Yeah.
feel like you're I don't know how to explain it. Like you're not like a cartoon all of a sudden who's living
No, yeah,
like
yeah.
in this
It's
cartoon
not like
world.
all of a sudden everything changes and I'm Scrooge McDuck and I'm living in this world of amazing fantasy and riches and gold and life is the end of the
It's still
movie
real life.
montage. It's real. Like I'm
Yeah.
still real. And it's all still it all comes with its struggles and its caveats and it's like but I am aware of the fact that these characters like mean something to other people
The
and it's
impact.
for that reason, yeah, they have a real impact. So it's for that reason that I try to carry little things with me when I go out and if I'm ever like in a situation where I feel like I'm people are going to find out what I do, I will
Yeah.
often keep some like big bird feathers on me. Um, I have big bird feathers that I
Authentic.
collect like off the floor. Yeah.
Authentic
Um,
Big Bird feathers.
I really do. Look, you want to
That's
see
so
one? I have
cool.
them.
Dude, that's so cool, man. Dude, I would feel so cool having a Big Bird feather, man. And that's because I haven't watched Sesame Street like in 20 years, probably. But
You ready?
you have
Here
one
it
with
is.
you right now?
Yeah, here it is.
That's a Big Bird feather.
Yeah, this
Dude,
fell off of Big
I
Bird's.
feel cool that I can now say I've seen Big Bird
Yeah,
feather
I've seen a real
in
Big
my
Bird feather.
life.
It's right here. And
That
so
fell off of him or what? Or did
yeah,
you
it fell
pluck
off of
it?
him.
Like, oh,
No, I
okay.
don't pluck.
You
I
just
definitely don't
you
pluck
got off
Big
the
Bird.
floor.
Yeah, but
You
he
got off
does
the floor.
shed, and so every once in a while, like I'll usually give them back, so because sometimes they'll just reattach them, but sometimes they're dirty or messed up or kind of crunched. Those
Oh,
don't get put
yeah,
back on the
yeah.
bird, so I'll just keep those and I'll put them in my pocket. And sometimes I'll like maybe split it into two pieces, and I will
Yeah.
give those to people who talk about like if I know that Sesame Street really means something to them, then
Yeah.
I can give them a big bird feather, or I will keep pigeon books on me because there are so many families who love to read these books with their kids.
Wow.
And that's really
That's a
important to
big
them too.
deal.
So it's a really big deal. And so I have several copies
Yeah.
that are signed by the author. And then I just sign the rest of them, and they're able to have like a special treat from the pigeon, or they have a special treat from Sesame Street, just so that they have a little connection because I am
Momentum.
aware of how special they are, these characters are to people, and if I'm able to bring a little bit of joy like into the lives of the people that I'm talking to,
Yeah.
then this whole thing like it elevates this whole thing into being so much better than I ever thought it could be.
Yeah, because dude, like, think you gotta think about it sometimes when like where you are right now, like as when you were a kid, like you were like you would be idolizing like the person who's playing like Tamir or like the bird.
Yeah.
Like you are you are the hero that you had as a kid. You know, like you were looking up to somebody, and now whoever is in your position, like you're the hero now. Like you're the celebrity now. That's insane, man. Because and I guess it's because it's still real life. That's why it's insane. And you like we don't always appreciate things, especially because life is fast, right? So
Yeah.
like you just like you got to do like whatever comes. Okay, now it's real. Like this is coming up. Now there's like deadlines, or now we have to like shoot. But like it's cool like when we kind of step back from whatever it is that we're doing, because like the other like 8 billion of us aren't on Sesame Street, right? But like when we step back and realize like, man, like, you know, like what I'm doing now is like I had always wished that I would be in this position, or there's kids looking up to me that, you know, I was that kid. And
Yeah.
especially the fact that because we were comparing it to like the NBA or the NFL, but this is even less possible or like less likely because if it's a team of 15, that's like there's 32 starters, you know, on a football team
Hmm.
per team, and there's like
Yeah.
there's not 32,
The
there's
chances
32
are even
football
lower.
teams. Yeah, yeah, and this is only one, dude. Like the
Yeah.
NFL is one team in this
Yeah. Yeah.
world, or like three teams max.
And it was sort of interesting because when I got the call, I was 23. I'm 26 now, which is I was young and I'm still fairly young. And like I remember thinking for a quick moment, I was like, I've been working so hard to get here. What now? Like what do I aim for now? I did it. Which was kind of silly, but there was an interesting moment. Like what in the world should I even go for? Well, the
Oh,
answer
I see.
the answer quickly was like, because I didn't know any other life aside from working toward this goal. And then I got it. And it
Yeah,
was very like, what in the world? I'm here. What
you needed a
life
whole
has
new
no
goal or
purpose.
something.
Life has no purpose anymore. I
Yeah.
did it. So part of it was like, okay, well, what can I do? What can I do here? Like, how can I make this better? And so that was part of the goal is like, how can I push the envelope of puppetry? How can I create the best character that I can create? How can I be a dynamic performer? How can I increase the range of voices that I can do? How can I expand my puppetry to even beyond Sesame Street and doing some other things that maybe you can't really do on Sesame Street, like we do with the pigeon? Like we do some silly stuff on
Yeah.
that show that Sesame, it's not really part of their curriculum to do. Like it's sort of
Mm.
it's not, like
Their
the pigeon is
brand.
kind of for
Yeah.
older. Yeah, it's not part of their brand, and the pigeon is sort of establishing his brand. So it's really fun to be sort of a part of that adventure, and then to have new things sort of offered to me here and there that I get to audition for that can
That's cool, man.
maybe will take off and maybe will just be nothing, you know. But it's fun. I get to have
Yeah.
fun creating new characters all the time, and that's I think that's some of the best fun is just creating
Then
new beings. It's great.
it keeps going. Do you ever find yourself back in the valley?
Often,
Do you still you mean you still have family, I'm sure, right? Like
fairly often. Yeah, my grandma's there, my mom's there, my little brother's there. He goes to veterans, and I
cool.
was just at veterans actually recently. I talked to the theater class, which is really cool.
For this? Oh cool. So you were here recently then. You do come down
Yeah,
every once in a while.
yeah, I do. I mean, I have the family down there, and every time I go down, it's another little barbecue, and we sit outside of my grandma's house in the front. In the front, we have a great backyard, but they choose the front yard. So we sit in the driveway, we do
Oh,
barbecues, and we pull out the portable tables. And I go down there pretty often. And yeah, it's still my home.
that's cool. Yeah, I mean you're still got the 956, right?
I still got the 956. I don't have any reason to get rid of it.
All right, man. So we'll let you go. You know, we it's been about an hour. You know, so the cool thing is that you know everybody here in the valley now got to meet a member of a true like legit member of Sesame Street. It's so unbelievable, and especially that you came from the valley, man, because it's like a small area. There's the whole idea that we have that like not enough good stuff comes out of the valley, but
Yeah,
it's awesome when it's something positive. So thanks for getting to know us, man. Honestly, it's been really fun.
anytime. Well, I didn't really get to ask you too many questions, but I appreciate you even having me
Nah,
on. Like
man,
that's
it's not my show, man. It's not my show. It's yours. It's whoever's on and whoever's listening. It's the Valley Show. That's the whole point. I really am gonna do some homework now. I'm gonna have to find the pigeon or what was his name? The
Tamir?
Tamar?
Tamir.
Tamir.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some spots on our shelf that need to be filled, man, for sure. We're gonna check it out. Like I can honestly
Go
say
for it.
I'm a Sesame Street fan all over
Give
again.
it a watch, and then watch the Pigeon Explains on
Wait,
YouTube.
real quick. That pigeon show, like, what's the target audience? Is it like for kids younger than Sesame Street, or is that for older people, or
It's for whoever wants
just
to
let me
watch
know
it,
what to
honestly.
expect?
Yeah,
Okay,
I mean, it's for kids. It is for kids.
we're gonna check it
But like
out.
it's for anybody who want. Like I watch it with adults and kids, and it's really funny. One time I was sitting in a classroom, and I was watching it to do a little bit of basically my own research to see like what do they like, what do they not like, and I was writing
Oh,
it down
okay.
and seeing what they were laughing at. And what was funny is that the kids were laughing at a lot of the silliness of the pigeon, and the adults were laughing at all of the extra stuff that I added. Oh, there it is again. They were laughing at all
Yes.
the extra stuff that I added to make myself laugh or to make the producers laugh, or just like have like
Oh,
this. So it's
you have that freedom to do your own stuff, like ad lib and all that.
so much of it is improv. Yeah,
Dude,
so
that's
much of the
cool, man.
pigeon, so
Improv,
much of the
yeah.
pigeon is improvised. And basically, one of my goals on set is to try to make the kid laugh. So I will be adding extra things and like hitting them or like doing whatever I can to make them laugh and
Yeah,
knock them out off of their game. Because the premise of the
that's
show
cool,
is
man.
the pigeon is trying
I'm
to
gonna check it out
explain
right
like
now.
how to make a bed, and then he doesn't know how to make a bed, and the kid
I saw
shows
that,
him
yeah.
how.
How to
So
ride a bike and stuff like that. Okay.
yeah, all sorts of stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
So
we're gonna check that out right now
that's a fun
as soon as we
show.
get off. That's cool,
Yeah,
man.
of
All
course.
right. Well, you know what, man? We'll probably have you back because
Yeah, let's
we
do a
didn't
part
get to
two.
talk enough. We'll do a
Yeah,
part two. Thanks for I know we just talked about this like on Monday or Tuesday, so I appreciate like the fact that you
of
know that you came
course.
on real quick. So
I
we'll have you
no,
on
this
right
is
away.
I
We
love it.
won't. All right, man.
Thank you.
We made some. We got a new friend here. All right, man. Well, thanks for being on, Mr. Tamir and Mr. Pigeon and Wesley and everything else, Mr. Bradley Freeman Jr. We appreciate your time, man.
Thank you. Thank you so much for
We'll see you
having
later,
me.
bro. See you later,
See you.
man.